and to have that. But I wanted to find people who were really actively in that pursuit and doing it well, and then study them and see, like, what are the common threads here? What are the principles that if I were to also apply them to my life, I could have demonstrable success as well.
So getting back to dance as a language and dance as a through line between art and life, I think that's a really great transition to some of the other things that you do outside of dance instruction, which is your podcast and your book. So the podcast, and correct me if I'm wrong, the podcast is entitled Live Your Dance?
It is, yeah.
So
go ahead.
I was gonna say, so what does that mean? Live your dance how? How are we living our dance?
What does that mean? I like it as, at least personally, when I found dancing, it was kind of, especially with West Coast in particular, it was as though I had found the dance I never knew that I always wanted. It like fit me. It was a perfect vehicle for me to like have self-expression, to find my self-expression, and to kind of round out like all of my own, this is who I am kind of thing. And so ultimately my idea was that, like, okay, I used to work corporate, I was doing marketing, I was doing all these different things, but I definitely felt, maybe a triangular, like I had certain sides of me, but I wasn't kind of a full wheel yet. I had certain like pie pieces that weren't quite developed. And so dance kind of helped me round it out so that my wheel could actually travel in a much more fluid way, And so my idea was that, if I'm living my dance, that's kind of the feeling I want to have, that full expression, feeling fully utilized, rolling with the full wheel intact. And I would like that for anyone. And it doesn't have to be dance related per se. Like dance for me is the metaphor to get there. But, someone could be killing it at, working at Facebook or being a farmer or whatever it is. And I still feel like you can live your dance. So the idea of the podcast was to really kind of identify people who have done that and done it well, not necessarily like struggling artists, because I still feel like we all need to figure that out to some extent, that like it is okay to not struggle, and to have that. But I wanted to find people who are really actively in that pursuit and doing it well, and then study them and see, like, what are the common threads here? What are the principles that if I were to also apply them to my life, I could have demonstrable success as well. So I need to get to talk to people and learn more about their stories, but also hopefully, in recording it, benefit others too. That turned into the podcast, which then led me to some other stuff too, books and whatnot. So yeah, it's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing. I love it. Well, and I'm certainly discovering this as I'm doing the stream and the podcast. The podcast is a great platform to make the excuse to reach out to people to learn from them, right?
Totally.
It gives you a great setup for, I'd love to hear about all of these things that you say you do, and then use that hour to obviously have, engage in a great conversation and learn a lot about each other, and hopefully make, friendships or networking opportunities down the path, but also just to learn and absorb all the information that other people have to give. On the episode with Krista, we talked about the importance of, women supporting women in the industry and learning from each other. And that way we aren't all trying to recreate the wheel, right? If someone's already built the wheel, let's get together and figure out how to put an axle on this thing, or let's figure out like how to make a lever and pulley system now that we figured out this one thing. The fact that we're all trying to recreate the same thing doesn't get us anywhere.
No, and I'm such a proponent of efficiency. I'm like, that's the thing too. Sometimes I'll have ideas. I have a lot of ideas, and it's hard for me to like focus on a few. But if I'm like, oh, I want to do, like a retreat with yoga and dance and whatever, and it's like, oh, someone's already doing it. Oh, and they're doing it really well. Awesome. Now I don't have to do it. Like they can run that, and I'm sure they're going to do it great. I can start on my other idea, or give that idea to someone else and they can go do it. It's like ideas are a free market. Like it's not like I need to own something, but also like if I did choose to do it, it's just as valid. It's going to be different and unique because I'm doing it. But I totally agree. Like the women helping women thing is it's helpful. It's so supportive. And it's, being a woman is a unique experience, obviously. And there are certain things that are just innate to being a woman that can't, you can explain it, but the visceral feeling of it is not something, a man or someone else could understand. So it's really nice to have, my friend and I were talking, she does a lot of work with our cycle. And some people are like, oh, are you on your cycle? It's like, no, we have a cycle all the time. Like it is one big cycle. And so sometimes I'm
That's
in
the
a
whole
different part
cycle
of
thing. It's cyclical.
so if you didn't understand, so it was just nice to like talk about that. And then we were talking about how to goal set according to your cycle. Because there are times when you're just going to have more energy and times when you want to be in a cocoon
Mhm.
and it's okay. And I wish I understood that earlier. So I wouldn't be like planning a product launch on the day my period started. Like, why did I not know that? And then I'm like fetal trying to launch videos. And it's like, this is not a good idea. Shouldn't have done that. So
Yes.
yeah,
If
anyway,
if someone could
this
go
is
back
why
and
we're
tell 13-year-old, like all of us when we were 13, like, this is what you really need to expect. Nobody is going to tell you this. Like,
all
it's okay. You are going to be in a sad, I just want to eat ice cream in my blanket fort mood 2 days out of the month, every month for the rest of your life. And that's okay. And then about 2 or 3 weeks later, you are going to have a 48-hour period where you are going to blitz clean your entire house because it has to get done today.
this is why my house got cleaned.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank God that she's doing her work because now I get to learn from her and my life is better for it.